To talk to my own people. I'm here to tell you it's time to decolonize your mind. You've taken up too many of the other people's ways and it's thrown you off track. First, let me tell you, every day is Thanksgiving Day. Starting with, I woke up this morning, thank you. The whole purpose of life is to be in a constant state of thanksgiving. I know that a lot of our young people are confused and angry and discouraged, and we feel for you, we hurt for you. A lot of that has to do with the situation in the world today, but you're also being doubly taxed by the what they call intergenerational trauma. Trauma that happened to your ancestors is passed in the DNA, and you feel it too. A lot of you are turning to drugs and alcohol to try to block this out. It doesn't work. Did you know that Native people are born without an enzyme in their brain that processes alcohol? So we get drunk faster, we stay drunk longer, and it makes us really, really crazy. The Creator did not mean for us to have alcohol. When you get drunk, your spirit is off balance for 4 days. And the drugs, that's a government program to keep you enslaved.
I gotta let this one breathe a little bit.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out.
Hayya, 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 ya hayya, 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 hayya.
Me, when I was I came here to the US when I was 7 years old, right there. For me, I would say when we came, I used to hear stories about the transatlantic slave trade, I think it's called. And I used to ask my parents, actually, I used to ask them, why don't Black Americans look like us? That's the first thing. So I do know I wasn't wrong when I was a child. I wasn't wrong. And the second point will have to be one that Dane himself made, where are all the ships and all the boats? Yeah, it's not a ship, it's boats. There wasn't any ships back then. Where are all the boats that they used? And the third point is, if you look at Africans, or not all Africans, but West Africa, you won't find any stories that point to any huge slave trade. If it actually happened, there will have to be stories. If you go ask your great grandparents, if you're African, then they would tell you about white men arriving on the beaches and kidnapping people or forcing tribes to kidnap other tribes. But there's not really stories everywhere about that. So that's another thing that makes it not valid. And fourth point will have to be, it is actually possible you guys are from the Americas. I'm with Dane 100%. It's not, some people view it as impossible, and I don't know why, but I am gonna actually show you guys at the end of the video on why it's possible. And the same thing was gonna happen to South Africa too, but it didn't happen all the way. So I am gonna show you guys why it's possible, and it's not impossible. I am gonna show you guys what it is a possibility here. It's not even like that, but it is a high chance that you're Aboriginal and you're not African. So let me show you guys. I'm gonna give you an example on South Africa. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how it is possible what Dane is saying. It's not like impossible. So here is South Africa. If you see where my cursor is at, here it is. And the white people there, if their plans succeeded and the native people down there didn't fight, they could have told them that the white people traveled from Europe and they were already there before them. They could have told them that, and then they could have told them their people originate from maybe Angola or Zambia, the upper countries. They could have just lied to them about that. So that's the example I wanted to give. So I think that's what happened in North America. The Europeans came there and now they're lying and they brainwashed almost everyone, and they're telling everyone that black Americans come from Africa, but they're really lying and they are the native people of the Americas. So that's my view on it.
The iodine and selenium in the person's diet. So some of the best ways to do that is to increase it through bulgur wheat, spelled B-U-L-G-U-R, bulgur wheat, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, and macadamia nuts. And also you want to get something called liquid Norwegian kelp, and that would help with that, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to break down the myrosinase enzyme so you can metabolize it so that the thyroid can work properly. Now, if you have hyperthyroidism, then you want to make sure that you increase your cruciferous vegetable intake. I know some of our elders have spoke against some of the, broccolis and cauliflower, but there's an enzyme inside those vegetables called goitrin, and goitrin is what you would need to increase if you have hyperthyroidism. Now, if you have hypothyroidism, then you want to decrease your goitrin. So you have to make sure that you steam your vegetables and that you don't get too much of that in your system. So you want to stay away from the cruciferous vegetables. So one of the reasons, like I said, the women get it more often is because women have the mammalian glands, so they become more receptacle. They receive more of the harmful radiation in the environment. So we have to be very aware of that. But I hope that helps. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section, and have a great day. Peace.
Is it when young white men felt alienated and alone, they listen to podcasts, think women shouldn't exist, and then vote for Donald Trump? But then when young black men felt like alienated and alone, they did something really cool and they formed the Black Panther Party for self-defense, and they got like universal free breakfast in the United States implemented because the programs they were running were such a threat to the existing institutions in the country. Like, why the difference though? Like, why did they do it way better than the alienated white people? Why is it when young white men felt alienated and alone, they listen to podcasts, think women shouldn't exist, and then vote for Donald Trump?